How could gamification increase the engagement of my Year 10 students? All images today are from my Year 10 supported science class, so thank you to them. So what do I need to improve upon? This year I have been using the app and website Class Dojo to help encourage good behaviour and monitor student progress in all my classes. This has led students to become more engaged in the classroom by adding in competition between individuals and also between groups. However, there were two issues I found with this. Whilst it motivated some, as there was the possibility of them coming first in class, it could not motivate all my students, as some felt they were too far behind to catch up. The second issue for me is, what is good behaviour, and should I be actually assessing that? Shouldn't I instead be assessing the key competencies? With one of my senior classes, this was even more of an issue, as they often asked me, what is the point of learning this concept, miss? They questioned the point of even being in class when instead they could watch a video from Learn Coach and know all of the answers to the test. And most importantly, they went home each night and rather than doing schoolwork, they played games. I personally recently got back into gaming, and what I found was, like the kids, I could spend hours completing the same task to get better at it and not be bothered by the amount of time I spent. I also found it more engaging than the work that I had brought home from school to complete. Finally, the tasks themselves were not that engaging. We use digital workbooks created in the Pages app, and what I found is whilst they're great for manipulation, we can add in images and video, they're still not all that much different from an old paper copy. What do I hope to achieve, and what does the research say? This infographic, I think, introduces the need for educators to understand gaming nicely, particularly the figure that as a planet we spend 3 billion hours a week playing video games. Cap refers to in his book that educators across the board need to utilise the potential of gaming, as learners are increasingly coming to courses with a massive experience in gaming, which is not being utilised in the learning environment. Cap also says that whilst courses are more and more moving towards page-turning e-learning modules, students are less engaged. Globally, 2,000 organisations are using gamification to increase engagement of their employees in training modules, and yet we are not really doing all that much about this in secondary schools yet. One of the key engagement aspects in gaming is called flow. The idea behind flow is that students can feel that they are progressing at their level. Flow is a key element that I hope to create in my course design, as it provides for the varying needs of my learners. You can spend as long as you want on level 1 if you need to, but if you find it easy, you can progress up. To sum up Cap's findings, he believes more educators actually should play games in order to understand the world the students are living in. Low and All, in their book, also talk about how important the role of assessment is and how gaming can help with assessment, because it actually gives students the steps that they need to follow. You've completed level 1, but you needed to do more on this particular aspect. It also shows me how long did it take students to do a specific task, or what things did they go back to more often. So it will be a very good way for me to assess how my students are getting along. Nudashan notes that the current modes of teaching promote students towards working in commodity jobs, whereas gaming has the power to help students innovate. Epistemic games or knowledge games can help with this, as they force users to become better innovators by providing them with real-life problems. Admiral and all were keen to state that whilst the students were more engaged in their learning, when the learning was game-based, they did not always gain better outcomes on standardised tests, because that's not what those tests were measuring. They also point out that the game they created was not suited to students who were on lower, more vocational pathways. So in order to create a game appropriately, it must be at the right level for students. in order for them to feel like they can achieve it, or else engagement will still drop, even if it is a game. Overall, they felt the flow or deep learning experiences were something that are not incorporated enough in secondary school classrooms, but are a very necessary part. Kelly also reinforced that idea that it must be at the right level for learners, so that they feel it is possible for them to achieve. It must have clear goals and challenges in order for them to be able to achieve that, and provide the learners with immediate feedback to ensure they stay motivated and engaged in the game. Games relate much better to the experiences and interests of learners today, though, and that is why it is a worthwhile medium to explore. So what is my plan? My plan is to use an LMS, particularly the Talent LMS website, to help keep a track of student achievements and award badges as they go. Next, using the Oralis app, create challenges about the classroom that the students need to find and then achieve in order to learn about how to work appropriately and safely in a science lab. There will also be other tasks they need to complete to show that they have met the key competencies. I will keep a track of those key competencies on Class Dojo once again because I feel that this app still allows for learners' choice, giving them the ability to choose an avatar. To help encourage feedback and collaboration in the first unit, I think it is important that the students work in teams, as individually it will be very hard for me to give them all feedback. So working with peers means they will get immediate feedback straight away. To sum up, I hope by gamifying my classroom, I will increase the engagement of my students as I will be accessing more of what they relate to. I also really hope to encourage them to develop their 21st century skills by assessing their key competencies and working on next steps for each student. Thank you.